It's VimiFish, the fun you won't miss.
Aarin stood on the village ridge, fingers white-knuckled around a thick spool of twine. While other children chased colorful kites across the flat meadow, Aarin stared at the jagged peak of the forbidden crag. He did not want a toy. He wanted a blade to pierce the clouds. From his satchel, he pulled scrap silk and bamboo ribs. For 3 days, he had labored in secret, stitching fabric with heavy thread and reinforcing the frame with iron wire. This was no ordinary kite. With a sharp, violent tug, he launched it. It caught a gust and shot upward. The kite climbed toward the dark mist. Then, suddenly, the wind died. It stalled, hovering against the gray wall. Aarin yanked the twine, forcing it to dive and snap upward. Then, the kite hit the mist and vanished into the void.
To most people, these kites were simple toys, but to Aarin, there was something more. There were possibilities. He goes to his workshop.
Aarin stood in the quiet sanctuary of his cluttered workshop, where the air hung heavy with the sharp scent of ozone and the thick, earthy aroma of machine oil. His world was small, defined by the glint of brass and the steady rhythm of clockwork. His fingers, permanently stained with the grease of 1,000 failed experiments, tightened around a small brass gear. Outside his window, the world was alive. He could hear the distant, joyous cheers of the village children as their simple kites climbed higher into the white clouds. But Aarin did not look out. His gaze remained fixed, almost haunted on his workbench. There lay his latest creation, a skeletal frame of wood and intricate clockwork that sat stubbornly motionless. Beside him, his faithful bluebird hopped onto a pile of messy blueprints, tilting its head as if questioning the silence. Aarin let out a long, heavy sigh, his shoulders slumping under the weight of his own high expectations. He looked at the tangled string of his failed prototype, a mess of knots and broken dreams. But failure was merely a catalyst. He grabbed a pencil, the lead scratching against paper with frantic, desperate precision. He wasn't just fixing a toy. He was engineering a solution to the wind itself. Out went the fragile, tearing paper, replaced by the shimmering strength of reinforced silk. He scrapped the simple frame, swapping it for a lightweight, gear-driven skeleton designed to fight the sky. Hours bled into the deep stillness of the night. The only sound in the village was the rhythmic, hypnotic ticking of his various inventions. Each screw turned, each spring tensioned, brought him closer to a perfection he could almost taste. As the first pale light of dawn began to bleed through the shutters, Aarin finally stepped back. He carried the finished machine out to the open field. He released the catch with a steady hand. The clockwork wings hummed to life, snapping open with a sharp mechanical click that echoed across the meadow. The kite didn't just fly, it ascended, cutting through the crisp morning air with a terrifying mechanical grace. Aaron's heart raced as he watched it climb higher and higher, defying the stillness of the morning. It was a triumph of gears over gravity, but the sky is a fickle master. Without warning, the wind shifted violently. A sudden, brutal gust slammed into the kite, tossing it like a leaf. Aarin watched in horror as his masterpiece began to spiral toward a jagged, ancient oak tree. With a sickening crunch of wood and metal, it snagged deep within the branches. The gears groaned, struggled for a moment, and then ground to a complete, devastating halt. Aarin didn't think. He simply sprinted toward the cliffside, his heavy boots thumping rhythmically against the hard, uncaring earth. As he reached the base of the tree, Aarin stopped. He didn't hear the sound of his own breaking invention. Instead, he heard a soft, trembling sob. A younger child sat huddled beneath the branches, staring up with tear-filled eyes at a simple paper kite trapped even higher. Aarin looked at his tangled, expensive invention, then back at the child's small, streak-stained face. In that moment, the frustration that had fueled his night of work simply evaporated. He didn't hesitate. He reached into his pocket and pulled out his remote control. His fingers moved with a different kind of precision now. Not for his own glory, but for a purpose. He manipulated the gears of his trapped kite, forcing the mechanical arms to extend and pivot. With a series of precise, calculated movements, he maneuvered his kite's arm to hook the child's tangled string. He tugged gently, his eyes fixed on the paper kite. Slowly, it broke free from the clutching leaves, fluttering safely down into the long grass. The child gasped, eyes widening in sheer disbelief, and then broke into a wide, toothy grin that outshone the morning sun. Aarin felt a strange sensation. The weight of his own frustration had vanished, replaced by a lightness he hadn't felt in years. He turned back to his own kite, and this time, he wasn't alone. With the child's eager help, they shook the stubborn branches until his mechanical invention finally tumbled down. They spent the next hour sitting together on the grass, repairing the damaged wings. Aarin reached into his pockets for spare parts, showing the child how a gear turned a lever, and how a lever created lift. By midday, both kites were ready. They stood together and launched them. This time, there was no competition, no need for one to be better than the other. Both kites soared side by side, the mechanical silk and the simple paper dancing together in the thermal currents. The sky was no longer a vast, empty space to be conquered, but a shared canvas. Aarin sat back on the grassy slope, his blue bird perched contentedly on his shoulder. He watched the two kites dance against the blue, realizing that his invention was only ever as strong as the joy it helped others find. As the sun began to dip below the distant hills, painting the sky in deep shades of violet and gold, he finally understood. The true power of his work wasn't found in the cold precision of the gears or the height of the flight. It was found in the warmth of the hands he reached out to help along the way. He wasn't just an inventor of machines anymore. He was a builder of bridges.
Bye-bye from VimiFish. See you soon, little stars. See you next time.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, please like and subscribe. Click the button right to subscribe.